All right, let's dive into the fascinating world of service marketing. It's a field that, honestly, plays by its own set of rules. Why? Because it all starts with one single, really tricky question.
Really think about that for a second. How do you convince someone to buy an experience, or a promise, or a piece of advice? It's this huge puzzle that marketers have been trying to solve for years, and today, we're going to break down the solution.
So the heart of the problem is that services are intangible. You just can't hold them in your hand before you decide to buy. And that one simple fact, it changes everything about how you have to market and sell them.
This comparison just hits the nail on the head. With a smartphone, you know exactly what you're getting, right? You can feel its weight, you can see the screen, test out the camera, but a financial advisor, you're buying their expertise. You're buying a promise of future results. What you're really buying is trust.
Now, this idea of intangibility, it isn't just one big, vague problem. It actually creates 5 very distinct, very specific challenges that every single service marketer has got to figure out how to overcome. Let's break them down.
Okay, so the first challenge has a pretty fancy name, incorporeal existence. But all it really means is that the service doesn't have a physical body. An airline sells the journey, not the actual plane. A consultant sells strategy, not the PowerPoint slides. You just can't put the core service on a shelf. And hey, if the service itself is hard to grasp, its benefits can be even tougher. This brings us to our next challenge, abstractness. Just think about the words we use to sell services. Peace of mind, financial security, a healthier life. These are powerful ideas for sure, but they're completely abstract. You can't point to a thing and say, that right there is peace of mind.
So when you're forced to use all this abstract language, it leads you straight into the next problem, generality. How many hotels promise superior quality? Or how many amusement parks offer an amazing experience? When everybody's using the same vague phrases, it's almost impossible for a customer to tell you apart from the competition.
And because services are intangible and abstract, they also have this problem of non-searchable. You can't test drive a surgeon's skill before an operation. You can't get a free sample of legal advice. This inability to try before you buy just ramps up the perceived risk for any customer.
And our final challenge kind of ties all of this together. It's called mental impalpability. It basically means that a lot of services, like cloud computing or a really complex insurance plan, are just plain hard to understand. It's tough for a customer to build a clear mental picture of what they're actually buying.
So how do marketers fight back against these 5 big challenges? Well, they do it by systematically making the invisible visible. For instance, to combat that incorporeal existence problem, they show tangible clues, like a clean, modern law office. To solve for abstractness, they'll show you a happy family enjoying their vacation, making that benefit feel real. And to overcome non-searchability, they lean really heavily on testimonials and case studies. For every problem, there's a specific, tangible solution.
And all of these solutions, taken together, they pretty much form the official playbook for promoting services. The entire strategy is just about using the right tools to make something invisible feel visible, concrete, and most importantly, trustworthy.
Now, the tools marketers use for this have evolved a lot. The classic channels like TV and print ads are now working side by side with this powerful suite of online tools. And digital channels are kind of perfect for service marketing because they let you get super targeted and personal with your message.
But, tools don't mean a thing without the right approach, especially in person-to-person selling. And the crucial point here is that selling a service is less about the service itself and way more about the relationship. It's all about building trust, showing you're a professional, managing your reputation, and then customizing that intangible offer to fit what the customer actually needs.
And this is exactly why word of mouth is so incredibly critical. Since customers can't really inspect a service before they buy, they rely so heavily on what other people have experienced. Word of mouth isn't just part of the marketing plan for a service. In a lot of ways, it is the marketing plan.
Smart businesses don't just hope for good word of mouth. They actively go out and generate it. They use referral programs, they ask for reviews, they engage with influencers. But of course, none of this works unless it's all built on a foundation of truly excellent service quality. That is the one non-negotiable part of the whole equation.
Okay, so you've got your promotional tools, you've got your word-of-mouth strategy humming along, but how do you make sure all these things are working together? Well, that's the final piece of the puzzle, the integrated approach. Just think about it from your own perspective as a customer.
You might see a Facebook ad, then you visit the website, you read a review, and then you talk to an employee on the phone. If the message you get from all those different places is inconsistent, that trust starts to break down. A flashy ad that promises amazing service means nothing if the actual experience is slow and unhelpful.
And that very problem is why this idea of Integrated Service Marketing Communications, or ISMC, is so vital. It's a whole strategy designed to make sure everyone, from the marketing team to HR to the person on the front line, is on the same page, delivering one consistent message that actually lines up with the company's promises.
When you look at the goals here, yeah, of course you see the obvious stuff like consistency and reinforcing the brand. But what's really interesting here? The focus on educating customers and motivating employees. This shows that great service marketing isn't just an external thing. It's about making sure everyone involved, including the customer, knows how to create a great experience together.
So ultimately, every single strategy, every tool, and every technique we've discussed today, it all comes down to this one crucial point. Successful service marketing is all about turning intangible promises into tangible trust.
And that leaves us with a final question for you. The next time you're choosing a new bank or a doctor or even just a streaming service, pay attention. What are they really selling you? And what are those little tangible clues they're using to make their invisible promise feel real?